Hello, gamers. Welcome to the 11th episode of the TPP Perspective. I'm your host, Carnage, and I welcome you back to a podcast that talks about esports, gaming reviews, games, technology in games, and anything related to entertainment. We are here in our 11th week since we have started this podcast, which is being posted on all major platforms: Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, Good Pods, Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or anywhere, uh, which any platform which is uh, leading in this segment in audio department. You can have it. You can watch it on YouTube also as a video as well as on YouTube Music. And I welcome anybody and everybody who is listening to this podcast anywhere. As for introductions, I would like to talk about how the podcast is generally structured. And as usual, this year, this podcast also, the first uh, section of the podcast will be dealing with news and events of esports, followed by our weekly game reviews that I post on uh, my official X account, that is at the rate of TPP Perspective, also, which will be followed by any news from the gaming industries as whole, followed by any news or events from other entertainments and technology related stuff. So, without any further ado, let's start our episode with delving deep into what happened in the esports scenario. There are three news that I want to talk about. First being uh, a news or an event amalgamating the esports scenario and the streaming scenario. As you all know, there are many big platforms on which people can stream. One of them being the giant of the streaming industry and being the uh, f- founding platform, founder of this streaming industry itself, that's Twitch. And there have been many great streamers, many great streams, many great events, many records being made, and one of them being Kai Cenat's most concurrent viewer record, which has been recently broken by a League of Legends streamer. I believe it's caedrel. Caedrel, who has recently uh, launched a team in League of Legends, and there was a stream, I think a watch party shots, in which he hit the concurrent concurrent viewer mark of 200,000 viewers, and supposedly it has broken the previous record made by Kai Cenat. I have not delved deep into number because it has been news that I have recently been informed about as I was about to start the recording. So I am not well aware of the statistics, but I assure you it's well established that the record has been broken by him. So yeah, we should celebrate such events. It being it it being something that one community cherishes and another uh, makes a grimace of on their face about. But for us, for us neutral viewers, for us neutral members of the gaming community, I think it's something to celebrate. And also it marks another milestone in the department of streamers and content creators launching esports orgs and them being successful, because recently in past year or two there have been many instances in which great content creators and streamers have launched various esports organizations in various games, and most of them eventually failed or were not able to continue because how uh, money hungry and very difficult to compete and be successful the esports scenario is right now. Eventually it will improve, but right now that is the scenario. And in that scene, in if some good news or some good stuff happens, we should celebrate it, and it's hope for any of those who have dream of doing things of sorts. Moving on to our two major tactical shooters and their esports. So uh, recently there was a news coming from the, I think, planes of IEM Dallas, and there were some upsets, and the upsets were followed by a very community friendly and community celebrated post match interviews by a team that has been a flag bearer in their region, but recently have been fallen off. They have been past members of some major runs. They having their streakers in their game, and have been some of the they have hosted some of the uh, big names of FPS gaming in Asia. Yes, we are talking about Tyloo and their recent uh, upheavals against 3D Max and Eternal Fire. Before these matches, Tyloo was ranked more than 100 in among all other Counter Strike esport teams worldwide, and they recently had a matchup against 3D Max, which ranks 13th worldwide, followed by a matchup against Eternal Fires, who have been recently runner ups for past many tournaments in recent years and are currently were ranked 7th worldwide. And both matches turned out to be an upset for the higher seeded teams, as Stylo defeated 3D Max 2-0, followed by defeating Eternal Fires either 2-0 or 2-1. I'm not sure right now. And these turn up of events had made Tyloo the most looked after underdogs in the Counter Strike scenario, in the Counter Strike scene. Also, there have been some fun and wholesome post match interviews of Tyloo players, and some moments being captured and shared on social media from the recordings of Tyloo players during the match, and they have become a sort of Pookies of the Counter Strike scene, and they have been loved. They are being adored by the Counter Strike fans. And but recently, there this uh, mm, tr- series of triumphs has been stopped by uh, Team Navi and Team Spirit, who were very uh, chill and easily uh, defeated Tyloo. But uh, but this all events, this all turn up of events is very inspiring for me, from coming from the region who is least represented, who has least player base but a lot of scope. And uh, recent uh, Counter Strike, recent Counter Strike's record of hitting uh, top charts in number of concurrent players. Also, there has been a record broken in which Counter Strike has reached a new market cap uh, based on economics, which we'll be discussing later on in this podcast. So it has also followed an uh, event in which there has been increase in interest among players and streamers for Counter Strike in my region too. And uh, this is very happy for happy time for me. uh, yeah, moving on from Counter Strike, recently one of the major events of Valorant esports has culminated. The As you know, the VCT, the Valorant Champions Tour 2025, kicked off a few months back, and recently they had the Masters Bangkok, one of the two masters that we are going to have this year, which will end with VCT champions. And the finals, again, uh, it brings a hope for esports in the in my region, because Asia won the Masters. The finals was between T1 and G2 esports, and it was a very close match with a fantastic performance by Jogmo with 100 bombs against T1. But eventually, T1 uh, backed the trophy with a final score of 3-2, and Meteor was awarded MVP for the tournament. And I was unable to watch any of the matches of Masters Bangkok because of the timings. It was in the early morning, and I had to do stuff which couldn't be couldn't be postponed. And but yeah, I followed the scores. I followed VLR.gg, and I think many T1 fans would be happy. Koreans would be happy, because Korea, from the beginning of Valorant esports, have been some awe-inspiring clips and players. And they recently had somewhat of downfall in their representation on the international stage. But now I think Korean Valorant esports is back on the rise again. Moving on from our esports news, we are in the gaming review section. As anybody who follows me, or as I have mentioned, we do weekly gaming reviews on our official Twitter account at the rate of TPP Perspective. And The game of this week is Snake Zenzia. Anybody who has been gaming or has been born in 90s and were present at the advent of handheld devices, mobile phones, would remember the game Snake, because it was a staple stock game for all those handheld devices in early 2000s. And anybody who had a phone or was interested in gaming must have at any point of time played Snake games. They were very popular, and as I have written in my review, I think the Snake games are the Mario of mobile gaming. Anybody who has uh, born after the decline of the era of keypadded early generation mobile phones, Snake was a 2D arcade like game in which you were given control of a snake in a field, and you have to feed the snake by guiding it through the field towards the blinking food for it or insects. And as you consume those insects, you get points, as well as the snake increases in size. And if you hit your body, that means if snake bites its own body, the game ends. And uh, and uh, it was a fun time pass game. And the game that I'm talking about is a version which was introduced in many of the colored mobile phone eras, because initial the mobile phones that used to come, they were used to be monochrome or black and white. But when the graphic hardwares for mobile phones got upgraded, and they had colored screens, then a version of Snake called Snake Zenzia was launched. And the mobile phone that we had in our household, it had a stock game in with one another game, Bounce, which was the game of review past week. And the more fun part of that Snake Zenzia game was, unlike of other Snake games, it had a mode in which there were multiple levels that you had to uh, go through, and all were time based, all were all were time based, increasing difficulty type of challenge mode, and it was the most fun thing to play. And I have also rated, as usual, this game out of 10. But to know how much I have rated, you have to go on X and check on my profile at the rate of TPP Perspective for the gaming review. Or else you can search on X hashtag TPP Game Reviews, and you will find all those games that I have reviewed for past 11 weeks. And you can comment down below if you have played and if you agree with the review. If not, give your feedbacks. Or if you agree, then share your memories playing that game. Moving on from our gaming review, we have some interesting and somewhat depressing news from entertainment and gaming industry. And the one thing that I would like to talk about is, recently there has been a news in which three female streamers, very big names of the streaming scenario on Twitch, were harassed by a person, uh, and it was very serious uh, situation, as the person was actually very aggressive and threatened the three girls, the three streamers, and these this incident reminds me of the cons of streaming and being a public figure, and a public figure of not of the very high stature, because earlier there used to be celebrities and common people, but now with this streaming and content creation industry, there are many people who are not normal, not common, but they are also not celebrities. They are famous, but they have money, but they are not as well as resourceful that they could uh, have 24-hour security, or enjoy a lifestyle which is separated and a par above the common people. And when some unfortunate scenario happens with them, a statue of glass or a ceiling of glass or a boundary or a wall of glass breaks, which gives a which I think was a false hope of security in this society. So actually, what happened that among streamers there is a uh, trending thing going on, that is IRL streaming, in real life streaming. Usually, streamers do what? They sit behind a, a device, a PC, they play games, and they stream that. But with limitations of streaming from home, with the limitations of streaming from PC, there are many avenues of life which are missed, and many opportunities to create content are also missed. So, the advent of IRL streaming was a breakthrough in the streaming industry, in which you take out a camera and you have a backpack which contains your uh, power for the camera and the hardware required for network connection, for streaming, for broadcasting the stuff that you record. And this allows people to uh, go into the nature, to attend many events and stream them, and also to explore places. And recently, what happened that there was a stream sniper, a person who follows streams and uh, actually actually stalks the individual. And this time, the stream sniper slash stalker went very aggressive. I think he was abusive and also threatened the streamers. And I think IRL streaming, as lucrative of an idea it is, I think it should not be done by everybody and anybody. And this new upbringing streamers and content creators should have a restraint, or if not, they should be properly protected, equipped, and should take a measure to not put themselves into a scenario where they could be harmed or they could not be helped, because there have been some news about streamers being kidnapped after going to uh, some countries which are notorious for drug mafia and gangs, and some streamers being disrespectful to the community in another country, and then being they being either attacked or being arrested. So anything new, it's lucrative, it's trending, but I think people should have a restraint. They should use their conscience, their judgment, and be sensible, and should always prioritize their safety over recording a viral content. Now, moving on, recently Valorant has launched their new agent, the new duelist Wele. I promised in my last podcast that once the agent has been launched, I will talk about how I feel. And last time, the trailer or the agent itself was not launched, but now it has. She is a Thai duelist, and as the reaction video of pro players was uh, shown, and what they talked about, actually it comes true. The abilities of Vele do remind us of Jet, Reyna, Yoru, and somewhat Phoenix, Breach, and Neon. So there has been a mixed review among uh, Valorant players in the community. Some saying that uh, Vele is just a mixture of what other agents are, and there is not something innovative or new about it. Those of you don't know or want to know, the Vele's ability includes a stun like Neon, which bounces and hits, with a new added effect called hindrance, which slows your reload and slows your fall. Then there is a recall slash teleport like ability of chamber or and euro, in which you activate it and then you get a time span in which you can move, and until the time ends, if you press again the button of the ability, you get back to the mm, place you started the ability. And also while returning uh, through the ability, you become uh, non-vulnerable to damage as Reyna's dismisses. Then the third ability is a jet like dash, in which you get two dashes in one opportunity. The first being a slightly elevated dash into the air, followed by a forward dash to the direction you are looking, and its ultimate being an AoE hindrance type ability like that of Breach, in which if Vele steps gets a small speed boost. If you have played, comment down below or tweet at me, how do you think the new agent of Valorant is? As of my opinion, I think it's balanced. I think despite of it being an amalgamation of different abilities of different agents, I think there are many opportunities with Vele, and there are many aspects of its range of abilities that separates it from all those agents that we have named. Also, this amalgamation of all these abilities similar to many agents somewhat has made Vele unique to them, and I think we will be able to assess more of its ability and capability once we see it played on stage or in an event by pro players. but not too excited. But I think Vele is a good addition, like Teho. But we need, we, from we, I mean me, and I think many people other will also resonate with it. We need some new, unique, abilitied agents in Valorant. Moving on from Valorant, we are to talk about a very good news from for fans of Counter Strike. Recently, Counter Strike 2 has recorded its new high of concurrent players. Also, the Counter Strike's skin economy is something that everybody knows of, and how huge and innovative and unique and wonderful it is. And recently, Counter Strike 2's market cap has reached an almost new high. And if anybody who uh, doesn't know of the Counter Strike's economy, has no knowledge of Counter Strike's skins economy, and doesn't play Counter Strike 2, will find it uh, very shocking, even false, that after 687 days from last market high, market cap high that Counter Strike 2 reached, Counter Strike 2 has broken its record. And the market cap its skin has is a whopping $4.277 billion. 4.2 billion US dollars. That's billion with a B. There are many countries who have lesser economy, who have lesser GDP than that. And uh, that too being when cs2 is invested with cheaters, and Valve is somewhat moving away from its famous case uh, system of skins. And it has been a while that uh, Valve has launched any new skin line or any new collection that has uh, that has affected a market on a new way. There have been many skepticisms around this news also, that deathmatch lobbies being empty or filled with bots, and people accuse that these high inflated numbers of concurrent players are actually Chinese people infesting the game with bots to farm stars for the armory passes. But this new market cap number somewhat debunks their hypothesis. But debunking the old accusations, these numbers uh, raise further different accusations. Where are this money coming from? Who is investing? Because recently the major stickers were a flop. There's nothing new on the store. No, not something that's groundbreaking or trending in the uh, community, skin community. The one hypothesis that I nurture is recently there has been a lot of upheaval in the real markets worldwide. The big economies of the world are facing somewhat downtime. And I think there are some investors who, at this time of fall of market, are diversifying. And it may be that some real big investors have put some pennies in uh, crypto, cryptocurrency, and an NFC type, not NFC, what is called uh, non NFT, who have investing in cryptocurrencies and NFTs, and skins being a kind of NFT, and skins being a kind of NFT. uh, I hypothesize that it's real world investors who have invested in the market, and this is the reason why CS has reached such high numbers of market cap. Moving on from Counter Strike, recently there was a controversy in which recently there was a news in which there have been uh, backlash by the League of Legends community, in which Riot made changes in their chest system and their battle pass systems, and the people were not happy. But good news is coming that Riot made a U-turn, and they just added back the chests and chests that they removed, and they U-turned on all those changes that they made in the shop, which led to such backlash from the community. And I think it's a very good of Riot to listen to what community wants. And actually, it's if the community would not have been that angry, Riot would not have gone back. But I have not something against Riot, and I'm not feeling it difficult to applaud the devs. But actually, I feel that it was more of dev being kind uh, to actually the community twisting dev's hand to do what's right. So this was for the 11th episode of the podcast. If you want anything, uh, if you want to ask any personal questions about me, use the hashtag Q&A on Twitter or on the comments down below. If you want to ask any personal questions, I might answer one or two. And if you want to ask any non-personal questions, or you want my advice or opinion on any stuff, or you want any topics to be taken on the podcast, use the hashtag TPP perspective on Twitter or down in the comments. And these are not limited by numbers. I might answer one or two of them, or if worthy enough, I might include it in next episode of the podcast, and will also and it will also be followed by a shout out to the person who did ask it. Follow me on my socials. Check it on check it or check on Twitter for all links. And Karnat signing out. Peace.